Hello everyone, I'm Chris Thomas. You're watching an ABC 10 Plus recap of the top stories on this Monday. Law enforcement is looking for more than a dozen people who crashed a car into a Modesto jewelry store before robbing it in broad daylight. Then the To The Point team has an update on the price tag for the California HighSpeed Rail project. The ABC 10 Plus recap starts now.
Four people are behind bars accused of crashing a car into a Modesto jewelry store before robbing it in broad daylight.
And tonight the search is on for more than a dozen suspects in the case. Modesto police are now saying the same group is linked to similar robberies from the Bay Area to Beverly Hills.
ABC 10's Gabriel Porras has the details.
It all started with this crash Sunday afternoon. And within just 60 seconds, more than 20 masked robbers run into and out of side jewelers off Sisk Road, some with hammers in hand, one suspect slipping on a shard of glass on the way in. Another commanding the criminals to work faster. Getaway cars waiting for the group eventually speed off, police only able to stop one of them.
That many people?
We showed the video to Rajesh Singh.
This is not safe to the community at all. This is really bad and ridiculous.
He and his wife were hoping to get their jewelry fixed Monday, but instead walked up to boarded windows.
It's not really helpful to the business guys. So I don't know how long they will be closing down, and they will be losing their business for certain days or time, whatever time it will be closed.
From broken glass on the ground to skid marks, the damage here is still fresh. It's also shockingly similar to another day-lit jewelry store heist in Tracy 2 weeks ago. Modesto police now linking the same robbery crew to similar cases in Oakland, Alameda County, and Beverly Hills.
This is very embarrassing, and it's not safe to the public, and not safe to the people who are working inside the store. And even if there was people in surrounding, that could have been in danger too.
No injuries were reported, but for employees and customers, their sense of safety was shattered Sunday in just seconds.
That's very dangerous. They can do this anywhere, even in anybody's house. It's not good at all, and it's not safe.
In Modesto, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
Very alarming. Gabriel, thank you. The suspects range in age from 19 to 24. Modesto police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Opening statements today in the trial of former Major League Baseball player Daniel Saraphini. He's accused of murdering his 70-year-old father-in-law, Gary Spoor, and the attempted murder of his wife, Wendy Wood, at their Homewood home in June of 2021. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias joins us live from the Auburn Historic Courthouse right now. Roxanne, what happened in court today?
Well, Laura, the small Auburn courthouse was packed today as the prosecution and defense gave their opening statements, altogether lasting about an hour. Now, the judge in this case only will allow still photography today. And as you can see earlier, Assistant Chief Deputy District Attorney Richard Miller began his opening statement by telling jurors that they would be shown evidence that the shooting of Gary Spoor and Wendy Wood was planned by Daniel Saraphini. He quoted from a text message from Saraphini that mentioned $20,000 and said, "I'm going to kill them one day." He then showed maps of all the places Saraphini and his alleged accomplice Samantha Scott had been on the day before the shooting, including the day of and after it had happened. And all that evidence will show surveillance video of the vehicle the two used to drive to and from the couple's home. Saraphini's lawyer, David Durant, went next. He told jurors that the man seen running in surveillance video outside the victim's Homewood house is not Saraphini. He says that the mannerism and body shape are not the same as their client. He then told jurors that Samantha Scott would testify for the prosecution because she had made a deal that would allow her to get off easier and on lesser charges. He asked that the jury pay close attention to her testimony and to compare it to the actual facts. Dratman then addressed the money situation by saying that money was not a motivator in this case because Saraphini's in-laws were very generous and had given his wife $90,000 on the day of the shootings. Back out here live, the trial is expected to start back up around 8:30 in the morning with the prosecution showing its evidence. I'm live in Auburn. Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Some stunning new details there, Roxanne. We'll be following this closely on air and online at abc10.com. Roxanne, thank you for the update.
The man accused in a deadly road rage incident was arraigned today. 20-year-old Blake Rickella is charged with murder in the death of 55-year-old Jeremy Stiles back on March 15th. The indictment was made public today. It shows intent and that the weapon used in the crime was a metal wrench. Bail was not set. Meanwhile, Blake's father, Anthony Rickella, is charged with assault with a deadly weapon. He was released from jail on Friday. And the trial continued today for Davis stabbing suspect Carlos Dominguez. Today, the defense started their arguments. His sister, ex-girlfriend, and father took the stand. Attorneys spoke about his journey of being smuggled into the United States from El Salvador at a young age and living with his grandparents, who he considers his parents. His father testified that his personality changed in his sophomore year of 2021 when he stopped talking to his siblings and parents. Court resumes tomorrow at 9:30 a.m.
One of the state's most controversial projects is under scrutiny again tonight. The HighSpeed Rail project is behind schedule and it's over budget. And HighSpeed Rail officials say the estimated cost has increased yet again. ABC10's Jeannie Nguyen is here to share the new price tag and also how lawmakers are responding.
Alex, I have reported that the state needs to come up with $7 billion by next summer to continue to fund the HighSpeed Rail project. A new update tonight shows that $7 billion could possibly become $10.2 billion. And this comes as the state is facing a $12 billion budget deficit.
This project, as proposed, is not going to be built. And now we're spending billions and billions of dollars that we don't have.
As vice chair of the Senate Transportation Committee, Senator Tony Strickland says the state cannot afford to put more money into the controversial HighSpeed Rail project. On Monday, HighSpeed Rail officials say the state could possibly need to find an additional $10.2 billion by next summer in order to continue to fund the project, and there might be a $400 million cost reduction. Officials say this estimate is on the higher range and is largely due to inflation.
After the $10.2 billion, if it goes forward, is more expensive than the whole entire project that was proposed to the people of California.
Officials say the updated cost estimate for the Merced to Bakersfield corridor ranges from $34.9 billion to $38.5 billion. A big difference from the initial proposal of $45 billion for the entire project from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
That will be the first in the nation high-speed rail track is about to take place. And so I want to get it done. And that's our commitment.
The governor's recent May revised budget proposal, if approved, will provide at least $1 billion a year to the project through the Cap and Invest program.
My guess is he's going to use his slush fund on the cap and trade to come up with the other part of that money. Again, I think that's money not well spent.
Even with the criticisms from lawmakers and the state facing a $12 billion deficit, advocates say this is a beneficial long-term investment for California. The High-Speed Rail Alliance is an advocate for high-speed rail projects across the country. They say if any state can accomplish this goal, it's California.
I wish there was this kind of scrutiny on highway projects. You know, we just assume that people want to drive, and we've designed our country to force people to drive. I don't think that's acceptable.
Adding that the project will eventually be cost-effective for residents in the long run. Now, we reached out to the chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee for comment. Senator Dave Cortez's office was unable to provide us a comment. Alex.
And Jeannie, we know that federal funding for this project has been threatened, but from what we understand as well, a lot of the funding actually comes from the state too, right?
Yes, Alex, but state money could also be threatened. Now, Senator Strickland did introduce a bill that, if passed, would take the money that High-Speed Rail is getting from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, and that would go towards the motor vehicle fuel account to help reduce the gas tax. And of course, that bill is currently making its way through the state legislature.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. And I also want to mention that we have an in-depth look at the High-Speed Rail project on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. To the Point looks at what progress has been made and the many challenges ahead. You can find California's High-Speed Rail on the home screen. Just download the app for free straight to your TV.
As the fire danger returns, Sacramento firefighters just faced their toughest fight yet so far this year.
So true. ABC10's Luke Clary has a closer look.
The Sacramento Fire Department bracing for a second red flag day in a row. Hot temperatures, low humidity, and high winds.
So those three items together make a recipe for disaster because you're at the mercy of the wind. You see that really thick black smoke? That's coming from the vehicles.
And this was the toughest firefight of the year so far, says Captain Justin Sylvia. It happened Sunday afternoon in a field between an apartment complex and a church. Much too close for comfort at Pentecost Fellowship Ministries, members evacuating in the middle of service.
I thank God that we had responders here to be able to move people effectively and efficiently.
This was definitely the most challenging that we've had this year, just because of the structure threat on top of all the vehicle fires that were burning, on top of the grass fire that was already burning. We really wanted to protect those two structures. Unfortunately, we did lose some vehicles in that firefight.
About a dozen of them in the parking lot, hollowed out shells. Now, the department is now implementing its seasonal grass fire response with pump and roll fire engines that can navigate through tough terrain and deploy water while the vehicle's in motion.
And we're not even into the summer season yet. I think the mindset is always be ready, knowing that that's going to be a big fire if we have one, especially on a red flag day.
There's a reminder here of the danger in overgrown fields that quickly turn from green to yellow.
The vegetation that we see around town, there's no better time than now to start getting out there and knocking it down.
Clearing dry brush is one way property owners can do their part as summer and more red flag days loom ahead. In Sacramento, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
And keep in mind, if you're thinking about clearing high grass or brush, do it before 10 a.m. while it's still cool and damp. And be sure to check out the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. On the home screen, we have more on the red flag warning and high fire danger. The ABC10 Plus TV streaming app is free to download on your TV. As I know we've been talking about the fire danger, does that start to subside tonight?
Oh, here's hoping. I mean, it's really early on in this season.
Yes, it certainly is. Yeah, an early season bump up in that fire danger. It is going to start to back off for tonight. Once this red flag warning expires, and that'll be at 8 o'clock. So that's when we start to see the winds shifting more to the southwest, drawing in just a little bit of cooling temperatures as well as higher humidity. It's really the combination of not only the low humidity, but those drawing winds. It has been 50 days since we've seen rain totaling over 1/10 of an inch for Sacramento Executive Airport. On March 30th, we had 1/1600 of an inch of rain. Since then, we've seen some bits of rain here and there, but not much to account for. And that is adding to the drying. Our soil moisture up and down the valley is getting really dry. And that's why we see the low level elevations starting to bump up that fire danger. You know, the fine fuels, they dry out so quickly without any wetting rain. So it does provide for ample fuel. Here's a look at the rundown of temperatures, and we've seen periods of some warming weather. Certainly we've seen the dryness, 50 days now since we've seen those wetting conditions. So with these temperatures, it again just elevates the risk once we get a wind event in here. Highs for today, warming with those northwest winds up to about 90 degrees up and down the valley. 70 for San Francisco, 70s and 80s for the foothills, and 60s for the Sierra. Our winds are starting to shift. We'll draw in more of that southwest flow during the afternoons instead of staying with those consistent northwest winds. We'll see them back for tomorrow's forecast. But again, during the afternoon, we pull in that southwest breeze, and that helps to bring down those temperatures, just kind of eases some of the warming conditions. For tomorrow, we start the day off at 5:50 with that sunrise. You can see by 10 a.m. we're in the 70s. By noon, we're in the 80s. But it is going to be one of those days we're kind of flirting with 90 degrees, but just maybe slightly below it because of the southwest winds that kick up during the afternoon. Once we get out of our Tuesday forecast and into Wednesday, we draw in that moderate heat risk. That's at the level that affects most people who are sensitive to the heat, especially those without adequate cooling as well as hydration. So just be aware, Wednesday is kind of the peak of some of the warm conditions under that ridge of high pressure. But get this, it's just a brief bump in those temperatures because we've got another low moving in, and we'll see that repeated pattern with those lows moving just to the north of us. What that means is this Memorial holiday weekend forecast is ideal. Wait till you see some of the numbers that we'll have. Highs will be near 70 for the Tahoe Basin, 70s and 80s throughout the foothills for tomorrow. Again, we're still on that warmer side of things. 60s along the coast with 80s inland to right around the 90s as we head back into the valley with morning lows in the 50s. Our 5-day forecast, we see the warmth building for Wednesday. That's our peak warmth day. And then as we head into the weekend, you can start to see how we're transitioning here. Friday is actually one of the cooler days of the week, so no weather impact alert days on our 3-day forecast or our 7, even our 10-day forecast. When I say ideal, I mean we are just virtually near average Friday through the holiday weekend. So many times we talk about the flip-flop of extremes when we get into the unofficial start of summer.
Well, I tell you what, it's nice to actually have a break from it for some time. 8 o'clock tonight, you're saying it should be a little better out there.
Yes.
Oh, that is some relief. I know we're still adjusting, right? A lot of us adjusting to those high temperatures.
Certainly are.
Monica, thank you. We'll still. Now to a major health update from former President Joe Biden.
Yeah, he revealed yesterday he has prostate cancer that is already spread to his bones. Here's the latest from Washington.
Former President Biden today sharing this picture online, writing, "Cancer touches all of us. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support." Biden yesterday revealing he's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer, which has now spread to his bones.
Hopefully he makes the right recovery. Like I will say, whether the right time to have this conversation is now or at some point in the future, we really do need to be honest about whether the former president was capable of doing the job.
In a statement, Biden's office says he was seen last week for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. Biden's cancer has a Gleason score of 9 out of 10. Biden's office says while this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management.
We know that with prostate cancer of this stage, we usually use hormone therapy to basically improve quality of life, maybe give somebody more years.
At 82 years old, Biden was the oldest sitting president when he left office, dropping out of the presidential race amid growing questions about his age and health. Prostate exams can be part of an annual physical, but it's not known if Biden had further testing done while in office. A PSA test can detect signs of prostate cancer, but is not routinely recommended by major guidelines for all men over the age of 70. Still, there are new questions about whether more could have been done to catch his cancer earlier. Doctors say prostate cancer can be symptom-free for years.
Is President Trump worried about the quality of care that presidents get here?
Not as far as President Trump is concerned.
And new today, we are learning King Charles has written privately to former President Biden. The king is fighting his own battle with cancer. Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
Well, to win a state championship in any sport is a tremendous feat. To do so 3 years in a row, that's what we call a dynasty. In Southern California, on the campus of Ventura College, the American River College women's tennis team pulled off an epic comeback against Bakersfield Community College, securing their third straight 3C 2A state title.
Had not lost the entire year at the JC level at number 1 or number 3 doubles. And we lost both of those. So we were down 2-1, but we clinched. The final score was 5-3.
Every program strives to end their season with a trophy, but at ARC, the primary focus is on the future of their athletes.
The place that players can go that may only want to play 2 years and then focus on their academics, or players that aren't quite ready for the 4-year level. You know, we develop players and help them move on, you know, to their 4-year programs if that's what they're desiring.
Of course, you have to be a pretty special group to pull off a three-peat, and this team was as special as it gets.
The kindness, all these girls, really kind, high character girls, you know, just got along beautifully, which made our job very easy. But really special girls, you know, and they all really were, you know, grateful for the opportunity, and that lets us focus on the tennis. And yeah, it was a great year in that regard.
This weekend, Tom, Cruise fans will get another thrilling adventure.
That's right. That's because there's a new installment of Mission Impossible, and critics are already calling this the movie of the summer. So Marcus Allen is joining us in studio to tell us more about Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Hey, Mark.
Yeah, and you know, it's Monday, and we're already saying what to watch this weekend. I know it's a little early to talk about movies, but not this one. It will be the biggest movie of the summer and likely the final Mission Impossible movie. The movie is called Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, but you'll often hear me say Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2. Want to know why? Because they literally named the last movie Part 1, so technically this is. Angela Bassett does not do her own stunts because technically she doesn't have stunts, but she does do all of her scene stealing every moment she's on the screen. We talked.
I looked at Thomas like, oh my gosh, how does your mother, how has she managed all these years watching you do these incredible things? I think about my own son, and I would not like to see that.
I mean, as we speak, looking over your shoulder, I literally see Tom dangling from an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of says it all.
It does, and I think I'm right that they went back because they just had to take it to another level.
No one else would do it once. Tom will do it 18 times.
Right, exactly.
That's right. Tom's character, many of the characters in this movie are considering, they're at an age where they're considering their point in life, what their career has meant. You still got a tremendous career ahead of you, but looking back, what's it all meant?
It's been a blessed time. Someone who discovers early enough in life what she wants to do, is able to study, to dream of it, to study, to get experience behind, to slowly make her way through it, and have opportunity to work with incredible people, wonderful stories, impactful stories that audiences have come to love and to appreciate, and they live fondly in their memory of their time sitting in the darkened theater together. It's a great deal. It means a great deal, and I don't take it lightly.
How amazing is Angela Bassett? Great in everything she does. She is amazing as the president in this. See it on the biggest screen possible, much of it shot in the IMAX format. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2, which is technically called The Final Reckoning Friday.
So you think there may not be a Part 3? Do you think, because these things just keep going, right? Like Star Wars or whatever, and there's always one more?
Right. Well, you did say, the Eagles said it's their final tour, yet they're back again, so you never know. It might not be. There'll be Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning Part 2.
Yeah, they'll have to think of a creative title to kind of say, hey, we're just kidding about the last one.
Mission Impossible, hey, we're back.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. All right, Mark, thank you.
Thanks for watching this ABC 10 Plus recap. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Chris Thomas. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. love this show, whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.